there is the possibility of a comparatively quick maturing of insight into karmic relationships if, for a considerable time, we try patiently and with inner energy to picture with greater and greater consciousness an experience which would otherwise simply take its course without being properly grasped, and fade away in the course of life. This is what usually happens to events. For what do people do with the events and experiences that happen to them all day? They actually only half notice them. You can form a picture of experiences only being half noticed if you sit down one day in the afternoon or the evening, and I advise you to do this, and ask yourself, what actually happened to me at 9:30 this morning? And now try to call up what you experienced in every detail as though it were actually happening, say at 7:30 in the evening, as if you were placing it in front of you as an invisible spiritual work of art. You will see how much will be missing, how much you did not notice, and how difficult this is to do. If you pick up a pen or a pencil to write it down, you will soon begin to bite your pencil, because you cannot remember the details, and in the last resort you hope to bite them out of the pencil. But the whole point is that you have to start by setting yourself the task of picturing for yourself, as precisely as possible, something you have experienced, not at the moment it is actually happening, but afterwards. You must make a picture of it, as though you were trying to paint it in spirit. And if the experience is one in which somebody spoke, this must be made as graphic as possible. The sound of their voice, the way in which the words were used distinctly or clumsily, and so on. Do this with strength and energy. In other words, you put into the picture all that you experienced. If you construct a picture like this of something you have experienced during the day, then the following night your astral body, when it is outside your physical body and etheric body, occupies itself with this picture. The astral body itself is in reality the bearer of the picture, and it shapes it outside the body. The astral body takes the picture with it when it goes out on the first night, and it shapes it out there when it is outside the physical and etheric body. That is the first stage. We will follow these stages quite exactly. The sleeping astral body, outside the physical and etheric body, shapes the picture of the experience. Where does it do this? It does this in the external ether, for where it now is in the external ether world. Picture to yourselves the human being. The physical and etheric body lie in bed, and the astral body is outside. We will disregard the ego. There, outside, is the astral body reproducing this picture you have made. But it does this in the external ether, and in consequence of this, the following happens. Picture it to yourselves. The astral body is outside. Now, it shapes the picture out there. This is, of course, purely diagrammatic. All this happens in the external ether, and this encrusts, as it were, with its own substance, the picture shaped in the astral body. That is, the outer ether makes an entire etheric form, which is seen as an extremely sharp picture by the eye of the Spirit. In the morning, you return to your physical and etheric body, and bring into them what has been given substance by the external ether. That is to say, the sleeping astral body shapes, when outside the physical and etheric body, the picture of the experience. And the external ether then impregnates the picture with its own substance. You can imagine that this has made the picture stronger, and that now, when the astral body returns in the morning with this more substantial form, it can make an impression on your etheric body. It does this now with the help of forces derived from the outer ether. The second stage, therefore, is the astral body impresses the picture into your etheric body. These were the events of the first day and the first night. Now we come to the second day. On the second day, while you are busying yourself with all the little things of life in full waking consciousness, there below consciousness, in the unconscious, the picture is descending into the etheric body. And during the next night, when the astral body has gone out again, and the etheric body is undisturbed, the etheric body elaborates this picture. So during the second night, the picture is worked on by your own etheric body. So the second stage is that the astral body impresses during the day the picture into the etheric body, and the etheric body elaborates the picture during the night. This then is the second day and the second night. Now, if you do this, if you are actually not above continuing to occupy yourself with the picture you formed the preceding day, and you can go on working on it for a reason, which I shall mention in a moment, you will continue to have a living relationship with it. Well, the effect continues, and it goes on affecting you until you have gone to sleep. If you have really done this during the day, you will wake up in the morning with the feeling that there is actually something in you. I do not quite know what it is, but there is something in me that wants something of me. In fact, it is not such an indifferent matter that I worked on this picture yesterday, but it really does mean something. For this picture has changed. Today the picture is giving me quite different feelings from any I have had before. The picture is making me have quite specific feelings. This experience remains with you the following day, and the feeling this gives you, and which you cannot get rid of throughout the day, is a witness to the fact that the picture is now descending into your etheric body, as I have described, and that the etheric body is absorbing it. Now, when you wake up after the next night, it will probably happen to you, when you slip back into your body after these 2 days, that you find this picture somewhat changed, transformed. The moment you wake up the next morning, you find it within you again, and it appears as a very real dream. But it has gone through a transformation. It has not remained the same, but has undergone a change. It will go through a number of changes until it has become something different. It will take on the appearance as if spiritual beings were there in some form, bringing you this experience. And you do virtually get the impression that this experience you have made a picture of in this way was actually bestowed on you. If it had been an experience together with another human being, you would then be left with the feeling that you had not actually experienced that only through that person, but that it was presented to you. Other powers, spiritual ones, have been involved. It was these who brought it to you. Now the following day arrives, and on this day the picture is carried down from the etheric body into the physical body. The etheric body impresses this picture into the physical body, right into the nerve processes, the blood processes. On the third day, the picture is impressed into the physical body. So the third stage is the etheric body stamps the picture into the physical body. And now comes the next night. You have been attending throughout the day to the ordinary little trifles of life, and underneath it all, the important process has been taking place of the picture being carried down into the physical body. This has been going on in the subconscious, and when the following night arrives, the picture is elaborated in the physical body. In the physical body, it is spiritualized. First of all, during the day, this picture is brought down into the processes of the blood and of the nerves. But in the night, it is spiritualized. Those with spiritual sight see this picture being worked on by the physical body. But it appears spiritually as an altogether changed picture. We could describe it by saying that during the following night, the physical body elaborates the picture. First day and first night. When outside the physical and etheric body, the astral body shapes the picture of the experience. The outer ether impregnates the picture with its own substance. Second day and second night. The picture is stamped by the astral body into the etheric body. Then the etheric body elaborates the picture in the course of the next night. Third day and third night. The picture is stamped by the etheric body into the physical body. Then the physical body elaborates the picture during the next night. Now this is something you must visualize absolutely exactly. The physical body really elaborates this picture spiritually. It spiritualizes it. So that if you have really gone through all this, then whilst you are asleep, what happens is that the physical body actually elaborates the whole thing. But it now no longer remains within the physical body. There arises out of the physical body a transformed version, a greatly magnified transformation of the picture. And when you get up in the morning, this picture is there, with you actually floating in it. It is like a kind of cloud that you yourself are within. You get up in the morning with this picture. This, then, is the third day and the third night. With this entirely transformed picture, you get out of bed on the fourth day. You rise from sleep, enveloped in this cloud, and if you have really shaped the picture with the necessary energy on the first day, and you have paid attention to what kind of feeling you had on the second day, you will now notice that the present picture is filled with your will. It contains will. But this will is unable to come to expression. It is as though it were shackled. Expressed somewhat radically, it is as if an incredibly daring sprinter had resolved to make a display of a bravado race, and he imagines he is sprinting. I am sprinting down to Upper Dornach in my imagination. My will is already engaged. But at the very moment I want to start moving, and the will is strongest, somebody holds me back, so that I stand there rigidly. My whole will is set to go, but I cannot make it function. The process is more or less like that. When you have this experience of feeling yourself as though being put in a vice, for you do feel as though clamped in a vice after the third night, when you wake up again with this feeling of being caught in a vice with your will thoroughly shackled, then if you can be attentive to this, the will becomes transformed. The will becomes seeing. The will cannot do anything, but it leads to your being able to see something. It becomes an eye of the soul, and the picture you woke up with becomes actual, objective. What you see is the event of the previous earth life, or of some previous earth life which had been the cause of what we sketched as a picture on the first day. By way of their transformation through feeling and will, we arrive at the picture of the causal event of a preceding incarnation. Let us take an example. Suppose someone experiences at a particular time on a certain day that a friend says something to him that is not altogether pleasant. Perhaps he had not expected it. Well, now, he clearly pictures to himself how he felt when he listened to what his friend said. He makes a really vivid picture of what he went through, the slight shock it gave him, how he got a bit annoyed, even offended. This is an inner effect, and as such, it must be brought into the picture. Now, he lets the 3 days run their course. On the second day, he goes about saying to himself, "The picture I formed yesterday has had a remarkable effect on me. All day today, I have a kind of sour feeling of being in a bad mood, as though I had a tummy upset. I have never before felt the sort of thing that is coming from this picture." At the end of the whole process, on the morning after the third day, I wake up and have the definite feeling that this picture is having the effect of shackling me. Then I become aware of the event from the past incarnation. I see it in front of me. I pass from this to the experience that is still quite fresh, still intact. The shackling stops, and I realize, aha, so this is how things were in the previous incarnation. This is what caused it. And now the effect is here. With this, I can live again. The thing is present once more. This must be practiced again and again, for usually the thread breaks at the first attempt on the very first day, and then nothing follows. It is particularly good if you can let these things run alongside one another and do not limit yourself to one event, but bring a number of events of the day into picture form in this way. You will say, "Then I must live the next day with all kinds of different feelings." And so you can. It does no harm at all. Just try it. These things go quite well together. And after the third day, must I then be shackled a number of times? This does no harm either. None of this matters. The things will sort themselves out. What belongs to the present incarnation from a previous one will find its way to it. but it just will not succeed at the first attempt. The thread breaks. We must have the patience to do this over and over again. Then you feel something growing stronger in your soul. You feel something awakening in the soul, so that you actually say to yourself, up to now, you are only filled with blood. All you felt pulsating in you was blood and breath. Now it is as though there was something within you besides blood. You are filled with something else as well. You can even have the feeling you are filled with something of which you can quite definitely say that it is like a metal that has become aeriform. You actually feel something like metal within you. You cannot describe it any other way than this. You feel metal spreading throughout your body, just as you can say of a particular kind of drinking water that it tastes metallic. The whole body seems to taste as though it were permeated by some delicate substance, which in reality, however, is a spiritual element. You notice this when you come upon something which was, of course, always there in you, but of which you are now for the first time becoming aware. And this experience gives you courage again. For if the thread keeps on breaking, and things are just as they were, if you want to get hold of a karmic connection, but the thread is always breaking, you could lose your courage. But when you have this feeling of what you are filled with, then you take courage again, and you tell yourself that you will succeed in due course. But, my dear friends, these things have to be gone through in an absolutely calm and peaceful mood,